guys, Jim here. Welcome back once again. Thank you as always for joining me. Today's video is something that I've kind of been sitting here for a while with, and I haven't really known how to make the video and bring this out to you. So today is not about a review, it's not a ramble or anything else. It's a goodbye, or more accurately, a thank you in video form. Before anything else, I want to say thank you, and in the most sincere way possibly, truly thank you to everyone who has subscribed, who has followed me over the years, commented, or shared a laugh. You're the reason why I came out here since 2012 to do this and talk about knives and do the reviews and the things that I've done. Even if we've argued respectfully or you've just been quiet in the background, you were the driving force as to why I was here. And you are really the heartbeat of this channel, and something that I've greatly appreciated for all the years that I've had the opportunity to do this. For years, your support, your encouragement, your curiosity has been something that's made this journey worthwhile, and something that I've really enjoyed throughout this, because I've gone on a journey myself, and it's really impossible for me to say thank you quite enough for everything that you've done for me. You've made this journey something that I can look back on with pride and know that everything I did, all the time that I put into it, somebody out there somewhere got some value from it. And that's really all I ever wanted. The channel grew quickly over the years, and I got to 82,000 subscribers way faster than I would have ever anticipated. But then it was kind of like hitting a wall. And I'm not entirely certain what happened. I've got some friends that are fellow YouTubers that have given me their thoughts as to what happened, and the algorithms, the way that YouTube has throttled some of us certainly played a big part in it. But quite honestly, I take a lot of responsibility for where my subscriber numbers went to, and when they stalled, and when they started sliding back a little bit. Growth slowed, views declined, and no matter what the cause for it was, over the past year, I've lost over 10,000 of my subscribers, so that subscriber number had dropped substantially. And when that happens, that completely changes what you're able to do as a content creator that reviews products. You're a lot less valuable to the companies and the people involved behind them. And you're not going to have enough content to really put out what you want to put out. You guys will notice that my channel went from being all high-end customs when I had the money to drop $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month on knives for my own personal collection. And then as things changed for me, and then I became a knife maker, and I wasn't making nearly as much as I was before, the tone of the channel changed a little bit. And that allowed me to focus on more production knives, things that were a little bit more affordable, which honestly broadened the audience that I had, because more people could tune in and connect with hearing about a $200 knife than could connect with hearing about a $2,000 knife. And at that same time, I noticed the attitudes of commenters changing. It was a different crowd from the ones that were buying high-end custom knives, and there was a little more bullshit to go along with it that I would have to deal with in the comments. And I think that honestly brought out the worst in me, because I'm not the most patient person in the world, especially now over the past few years as I've gotten older and my life has changed. I've always been honest, and some people might say too honest, about my political views on social media. And that's that is rarely a good strategy if you're trying to make a large audience of people happy, because at best, you're going to alienate half of the people that support you and watch the content that you're putting out. At worst, most of them will end up leaving and not coming back. But I've always believed that integrity means saying what you mean and standing behind it. And that's something I've always done. I've always put my name next to what I say online instead of relying on pseudonyms or anonymous handles or anything like that. I've always wanted to make sure that people knew that what I was saying, I meant, no matter what it was. Now, there are other reasons too. I've never been the type of person that would tolerate trolls or obnoxious comments, whether online or in real life. And when someone crosses the line, well, I handle it the same way that I would face to face, decisively and without apology. And that probably cost me a lot of followers, and I'm completely fine with that. I accept that and knew that when I was making the responses that I was making. But the truth is, the real reason that I'm stepping back is I no longer get out of this what I put in. And for those who don't know, each review takes me about 4 to 6 hours of work between the photography that I do, editing, doing the actual video itself, and now writing these stupid jingles that I have at the beginning of the videos overlaid on the photo montages. They're stupid, they're ridiculous, but there's something that I enjoy. And unfortunately, it takes me a long time, especially if I'm writing a song that's very specific to the particular item that I'm reviewing.
No cool tie in my hand, just like fire on the ice. Clock says new, but who cares? Gotta roll these lucky dice. Happy hour night cuts through the weight of the grind. But every hour's happy hour if you don't stop drinking all night. Raise your glass, shout it out, a slice of life. With my knife, drink deep in the day. No chains on this line. No cool tight, kettle, steel tight jeans, sex appeal, glass in the air, toast the chaos of strife. I was born into light, like everyone else, nothing special in sight. But as I crowned and the doctor frowned, the light went away and darkness abound. The ground shook under their feet. Must be coincidence, no time to think of what has become, what has been. Sent here to reclaim the earth, somehow aware at the moment of birth. No thunder, no lightning, no symbols on my skin. But once I mature, my work will begin. When you create our kingdoms, make mine darkness. Don't leave me alone, I will require some guidance.
Yeah, that can take a while. And what I earn from ad revenue wouldn't even buy one single knife that I review on the channel. And on a good month, I'm going to review 4 to 8 knives. And then my other channels with watches and guns and everything else, there's a constant need for content. There's a constant need for product. And when you're not getting the views that you used to, because on my channel, there are videos that I've got well over 1 million views on. And then when it changes and you get 1,000 views over the lifetime of that video upload, it changes a lot. And you have to have some value in this industry if you want to continue to do what I'm doing. What I earn from revenue also barely covers my shipping costs. Because think about this, you've got a good majority of the videos that I do are going to be on products that I borrow. So whether it's a viewer that sends in something for a guest blade, I don't want them to have to pay for shipping back and forth because I'm the one benefiting from having the content to put out there. If it's a brand, most of the time the brand is going to send me a label for shipping, but they don't always do that. So I've got a couple $100 a month that I have to spend just in shipping. And quite honestly, that adds up really, really fast when you're barely making that much from YouTube. I don't really do sponsorships or brand deals or anything like that because there are already enough skeptics out there when it comes to anybody reviewing any product. They're always wondering, are they a shill or are they actually telling the truth? If they're saying a product is good, is it really good, or are they getting some kind of kickback to say that it's good and I'm going to buy this thing and I'm going to get it and I'm going to hate it? Now, I know those of you that have followed me for a long time over the years, you've bought things based on me saying, hey, this is great, and you've got it, and you realize that I was telling the truth, or I would tell you something really wasn't all that great, and you may have taken a chance on it, and you got it, and went, yeah, boy, I should have listened because Jim said this, and this really wasn't all that great. And during all this, I've watched the EDC community change in ways that bother me a lot. And it's not something that I want to grow and adapt into myself. The whole EDC content scene has changed into something that I barely recognize anymore. Quick cut edits like a friggin' MTV video, TikTok style reels, lip syncing bullshit, and people that are very clearly just out here to gain clout. And that's not something that I'm interested in participating in or being categorized as being a part of. And it's very easy for people to talk about a subset of the community and lump a bunch of people together. So it's very easy to lump me in with these guys that really honestly should be taking their shit to TikTok. And I don't want to be mentioned in the same breath as those people. It's very, very, very disappointing to see where that has gone, and that just sitting here and being honest, knowing the actual product, knowing what you're talking about, educating yourself to help educate others so that they can make a conscious, well-informed buying decision. That to me is what this is about. And they just don't feel that way. They want everything to go viral. They want to be all over Instagram and they want to be so out there and look like a fashion brand influencer because they think that's how they're going to get a bunch of free shit from these EDC and knife companies. And some of those companies, yeah, they definitely have fallen for it, but most of them have not. And so what we're seeing is the same crap being reviewed or presented or sold to you over and over and over and over again. And you'll see it. You'll see one knife or one particular offbeat brand that all of a sudden is everywhere all at once. 5 different reviewers are reviewing it the same week, releasing that video maybe even the same day. Like it's television reviews, gadget reviews, or tool reviews, all those things where it's well known that there is a community of shills that you have to worry if you're getting any honest information whatsoever. And they're easy to figure out. Look at their thumbnails, which are nothing but clickbait, which I want to be careful how I word that because there are some really good channels with really good information. And I'll give you an example of that because I'm saying a nice thing, so I'll give you an actual example so I'm not bad mouthing anybody. Look at Neve's Knives. He's having to do clickbaity kind of thumbnails too. It's not because he wants to, it's because YouTube will only reward those that do stupid shit like that. And that's not where we came from, us that are, the OG knife reviewers that go back that far into the 2010s and beyond. That's just not something that we're comfortable doing. I tried it for a short amount of time, maybe 10 or 15 videos, so maybe 1 or 2 months. I would do the clickbaity kind of thumbnails, and I didn't like it. I kind of felt dirty, and it's not a game that I want to play. So again, there are people that came out of the gate doing that, and those people, and those are the ones you can't trust. They're the ones that make a bunch of oohs and ahs and stupid ass noises and do nothing more than give you the specs that you can read off a website, and they don't give you any real insight. They don't talk about the manufacturer. They don't talk about the history of the maker if it's a custom knife. They're not giving you genuine information beyond what you can read for yourself on a sales website. I've spent a lot of time talking to a lot of knife makers trying to give you guys as much background information on them, their designs, and their products as I possibly can. And those of you makers right now that are watching this know this because in some cases that was our first communication before we got to know each other or become friends or anything else. It was me saying, "Hey, where did you come from? What were you doing before you got into knives? What made you want to make knives? Why did you name this model this? What was the inspiration behind this blade shape or these materials or whatever else it was that you felt as an artist was important to relay to your customers? Because there's only so much information you can put on your own website before it just becomes a wall of text that nobody's going to read. And there's only so much information that a retailer is going to put up on your listings. So it's incumbent upon us as reviewers to put that information out there to empower the customers with as much proper detailed information as possible to make an informed purchase because that reduces buyer's remorse. There's nothing I hate more than buying something, especially something expensive, and then getting it and it's completely let me down or it's completely different from what I had expected. And when you've got an honest reviewer out there showing you, you can even mute them and not listen to a damn word they say, and you can watch the product being demonstrated and see for yourself if it's going to fill the niche that you're trying to fill or if it satisfies the particular needs that you have. That was always something that I felt was important. Maybe I'm old fashioned, but I still believe that substance matters. I would definitely prefer to give you substance over spectacle. And I think the only spectacle that I've really fallen into is spending a lot of time doing a lot of photography on the items and trying to show you what I see. It's one thing to see a catalog shot on Blade HQ or any of the other number of dealers and see the overall knife, but to look for the very particular details. There are certain things that we're going to love about a knife design that you're only going to see when it's in your hand, when you're holding it. So what I try to do is I try to capture that so people can see that maybe it's the floating backspacer. Maybe it's the zirconium hardware at the pivot, or maybe it's the pivot collar going around it. One little thing that's an extraordinary detail, the way it was polished, the material that was used, or any of those things. So, as far as spectacle goes, I'm guilty of that, but what I feel is in the best way possible, trying to give as much detail as I can, whether it's through my lens or what's coming out of my mouth. And then there's the personal side, the side that nobody ever gets to see, the time away from my family. I spend, like I said, a good 4 to 6 hours per video doing these uploads. And that's time, obviously, when I'm recording, I'm not spending time with my family. When I'm doing hours of photography and editing, I'm not spending time with my family. But there's weird little nuanced things that, unless you're doing this or unless you're like a serious collector, you don't really realize. When I have a, let's say, a box of $15,000 worth of knives being sent in from a retailer or a knife maker or a brand or a friend or whatever it is, and I know that's in transit, I'm watching that tracking. I don't want a porch pirate stealing somebody else's knives or stealing knives that are mine that I've paid for or that are being sent to me for review. So if my family decides on that Thursday, that's going to be kind of a family outing day. My wife is going to take my son out. Maybe they're going to go shopping for school clothes. And that's something that I should be going along with them for. No, I'm sitting at home waiting for a box. And while that's important to me because I don't want to lose that, what's more important is spending time with my family. And there was many, many, many days that I missed opportunities to spend time with my family because I was waiting for an inbound package and I didn't want to miss it, or I had to sign for it, or whatever the other excuses may be. But staying at home just to get a package of steel. And finally, I'm just tired. Over the years, this takes its toll. It's not hard work, but it's constant work. And I am fully retired now. Between the injuries that I've sustained to my neck and my spine from the time that I was making knives, all that head forward posture, because I didn't start making knives young like a smart knife maker would. I started in my 40s. So my body already had wear and tear on it. Because you might be sitting there going, dude, I know knife makers that are 70 years old that are still making knives. What are you bitching about? And they probably started younger, and that was what they were used to. I wasn't. My whole life, I've been, well, most of my life, the way I've made money is using this and this, not these. And when I finally did, it was later in life. My body wasn't ready for it. I have multiple disc degeneration. I have multiple nerves that are poking out and getting pinched all the time. There were times that my right hand, for whatever reason, I have one particular pinched nerve that when it gets pinched, when it gets hit, my hand will just reflexively open up. When that happens, it's a pain in the ass in my regular everyday settings. If it were to happen while I'm grinding a knife, or even worse, buffing a knife, it could cause me great injury or even death. You don't want to have a sharp knife in your hand and all of a sudden your hand lets go of it. And then beyond that, I've had two strokes and a heart attack. So I may only be 51 years old, but I am permanently retired. There's no way that I can continue to do what I love. So if I'm not doing that, should I be stressing myself out to meet deadlines? Maybe that knife I have sitting here waiting for me to review is something brand new that a maker is getting ready to introduce for, let's say, Blade Show. And I want to make sure people know about it before Blade Show happens, so they know to go to Blade Show just to see that maker and go see that knife. And if I don't meet that deadline, I've done you a disservice because now you don't know it exists in time. And I've done them a disservice. They could have sent that to Metal Complex or to Jared or to Lefty EDC or any number of other really, really good guys with really good channels that would have responsibly gotten that video out in time. I don't want to give anything less than my absolute best. And the best isn't in me anymore, unfortunately. So that's the other thing. You don't want to be that guy that's hung on way too long. It's like that TV show that overran its popularity. It hit its peak and then it just started going down, 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 down. And because it was so enjoyable, when the quality starts going down, it's even worse than a bad show because you had a certain expectation and it never meets that expectation ever again. I don't want to be that guy. And maybe I already am. And I don't want to go out like that. So I'm just going to kind of go out on my own terms. Now, I'm not going to end things right here, right now. This is not the last video I'm doing. I have a handful of other things already that I need to make videos for. Some things that I've bought for myself and other things that I've had coming in that I want to make sure you guys know about so that you have the chance to own these things too. So if you've ever learned something from me, laughed with me, argued with me, or anything on this channel, thank you so much because you have been part of something special. You've been a part of a major portion of my life. When I started my channel in 2012, I've told the story only a couple of times, but when I started my channel in 2012, I did it because at the time, at my job, I only worked really 3 days a week for 2 to 3 hours at a time. So I had a lot of free time. My wife was pregnant and I wasn't sleeping at night. I had a really weird work schedule. I'd be sometimes on the air until midnight and I'd come home and she'd be well asleep. Obviously, didn't want to go in there and wake her up. It's hard enough for a pregnant woman to sleep as it is. So I always had new knives coming in and I was always excited about them. And I wanted to share them with everybody. And this was the way that I chose to do it. And over time, I went from just giving a basic overview to actually doing reviews and saying this is good or this is bad. And here are the reasons why. I was afraid to do that in the very beginning because I'm like, who am I? I'm just a regular dude. I'm just, a guy that buys knives like everybody else. I don't know anybody in the industry. I've never made a knife, so I don't have that degree of knowledge. So all I can do is say, hey, here's this cool thing I bought. Check it out. And over time, I learned a little more and a little bit more. And through the friendships that I made with certain knife makers, my knowledge grew exponentially. And I'm so very thankful for those opportunities. And then obviously in 2016, when I decided to take my shot at making knives, designing my own knives, making them by hand and everything else, I wanted to share that with everyone as well. So it's been a long, interesting journey. And so many of you have made it so wonderful. And again, I thank you so very much for that. And you've given me a wonderful opportunity to sample and even own some of the greatest knives ever made. What I miss is being able to be the guy that shows you things first. And that used to be the way it was. I could bring out, let's say, a custom knife from a really great maker that maybe nobody had heard of, or just wasn't a big, huge name yet. And the feeling of getting the phone call 24, 48 hours later from that maker going, okay, I guess you uploaded the video because now I have 2 years worth of orders, or I have so many orders I had to close my books. That felt really, really good because I was able to give back and do something for really, really, really good people. And then over time, that extended to certain brands. I was the first person to get behind Riot knives. I was the first person to get behind and introduce Wee knives. The first person to get behind and introduce Reich knife. And I'll always remember that. I'll always enjoy that, to know that I had a large viewership at the time that enjoyed watching what I did and allowed me to show them things that they hadn't otherwise found on their own. And they would find their new love. They would find the new knife that they had to have, or this great new brand that they would have never given the opportunity to get into their collection. And it was fun. That was a hell of a lot of fun to get notes from knife makers that went, I was inspired to make knives by listening to your videos and seeing what you liked or didn't like about certain knives It guided me and showed me what I would need to do when I was designing a knife. That is some of the coolest shit in the world. And I couldn't have done that if you guys weren't supporting me and helping me build my channel to the level that it was at. But I have been very quickly surpassed because, again, the industry is changing and I'm not changing with it. It's a very big deal to be able to do a big live event. It doesn't have to be an event, just a live airing, maybe even once a week, and give away a bunch of knives for free. And when you do that, you make one stipulation. If you want to be part of the giveaway, you have to become a subscriber. Okay, well, now, boom, you're getting 1,000 subscribers a week. Boom, 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 boom. And now you've got 100, 150, 200,000 subscribers. Now every brand out there is sending you free knives so that you can give more away to do more live events to buy, if you want to look at it that way, or bribe new subscribers in. Because now every time you upload, those subscribers get a notification. Hey, so-and-so uploaded a new video. Go check it out. So they'll get more views in a single day than I'll get in a week now. That's not the way it used to be, but it showed me that this is something that I need to do. And I have no interest in doing live segments. Again, I want to spend time with my family. To do those shows, you really need to do them in the early evening, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and go for a couple of hours so more people have access to it. They're off of work, they're finished with dinner with their families. Now they have time to sit down and watch your goofy ass. And I don't have an interest in doing that. And I don't have the following that's big enough so I could pick up the phone and say, hey, We Knives, send me 15 knives that I can give away for free to my subscribers. They're going to go, okay, how do you want to pay for it? And you can't get that amount of subscribers without giving back in that way. So it's just not something that I don't feel that's the way it should be done. And I don't have anything against anybody that does that because it's smart. If you're running your YouTube channel like a business, that's the smart way to do it. If you have decided, I'm going to quit my day job and just be a YouTuber, you have got to do it in a way that you can support your family. To do that, you've got to run it like a business. And if you're smart, you're going to find every little dial that you can turn and tweak to make sure you get as many subscribers as possible. If that means giving away a bunch of free shit, then give away a bunch of free shit. Do that. There is nothing wrong with that. But that's not something that I can compete with right now. And I don't have a desire to. So who knows, maybe one day I'll come back. But not as a content creator, just as a guy that loves knives. Go back to what I did in the very beginning. No fancy graphics for an intro, no photo montages, no stupid friggin' jingles. Shut up, I enjoy writing those. Those are fun. I like that I can write them and AI can perform them, and I don't have to learn how to play a friggin' guitar or drums. It's awesome. So I hope you guys watch the next few videos that I put out. I'm not going to put all the time and effort into them that I put into all of my other videos. I'm not going to do the photography and everything else. I'm just going to sit down, camera, knife, and do a review. Get those last few out and under. If you are a knife maker or a brand that I've worked with before and you want to send more stuff out, let me know, so that I know how long I have before I have to start tapering off and I can end things. I'm looking at doing uploads maybe through the holidays up till the first of the year, and then just kicking back and relaxing and watching a couple of channels that I really enjoy. Not the ones that make the stupid noises and all the other BS stuff. You know, guys like Lefty EDC. And I think that's what I should do on the way out here is tell you channels that I love, that I truly enjoy, that if you're not already watching them, you really, really, really should. Lefty EDC. Kevin is such an awesome guy, and he's doing exactly what I did back in the old days. It's just a camera and the item, and that's it. Here's what I like about it. Here's what I don't. Here's what I think you're going to feel about it when you get it. That's what he's good for. He's good for letting you know, honestly, where you should spend your money. Metal Complex. I'm always going to enjoy his work. And listen, right now, he is the king. He has the most subscribers. Again, those live events are very successful for him. And I applaud him. I think he was the first one to really do that. And I applaud him for the originality and the creativity that it took to realize this should be handled like a business. But go watch him, because honestly, if there's somebody making a really great knife, they're sending it to him. They're not sending it to the guy that sits in the passenger seat of his car and flips a friggin' knife in the parking lot of Walmart or something like that. He's getting the good shit. He gets some shit, but he gets all the good shit. If there's something to pay attention to, he's got it. Jared, Neves Knives. Not only are you going to get the same level of really cool shit and the stuff you want to pay attention to, but you're going to get that education. Jared knows about knives. He knows about knife making to a certain degree. He knows about tooling. He knows about how the shops operate. And he knows about how to put a good edge on a knife. And he gives out a lot of really, really good wisdom. So that's a channel that I thoroughly enjoy as well. There are a couple of more. Boy, I'd love to tell you the ones to avoid and the ones that I despise, but who wants that kind of negativity? I have enough negativity in my life that I don't need to spread anymore. But if you really think about it, you know who they are. And you're just watching and you've got your nose wrinkled up because you're like, you're cringing because of they don't know what the hell they're talking about, or you just know that they are desperate to get more product from that company or that maker, that they're going to make up bullshit to say, and you're watching it on camera going, look how great this flips, and it's not flipping great. Or there's no stick to the lock, and you're hearing the lock stick as they're unlocking it. And you see right through their bullshit. They exist, they're there, and there are at least two of them that have huge followings, as big or bigger than mine. So again, I'm not going to say who they are. If they won't even bother, separate subject. If you're coming across all these channels and there's a bunch of videos and they're not even bothering to show you what the knife is in the thumbnail, they're just trying to sucker you in. They don't care about giving you good quality content. They just want you to click in. They want to get the clicks. They want to get the views. And that's it. They don't care about the watch time. They don't care if you're watching all the way through and getting good information. They're like, ha ha ha, if I make this thumbnail a mystery, they'll click. That's not the way to do it. That's the way to do it if you're a meme channel. We're not meme channels. We're hopefully a resource that people can use to determine if the money that they're about to spend is worth it or not. If you're not giving that, then you shouldn't be categorized as a reviewer. That's just the way I feel about it. So, okay, there's a little bit of negativity, but I don't want to spread any more negativity. I'm going to leave it at that. And with that, I'm going to go. So please take care of yourselves, take care of your families. Try not to forget me. I'll still be on social media. So I'm still on my Instagram at Skeleton Blade Works. I changed my account name back to Skeleton Blade Works. obviously my Facebook. I'll still be posting occasionally there and in a few different Facebook groups, but not as much as I was. I did want to take a step back. I tried that. It didn't last long because I kept getting sucked back in, again, mostly because of political crap. But it's really hard to break yourself free of social media entirely. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I am going to upload a little bit more on this channel. I might be keeping one of my other channels going. I'm not entirely certain on that yet, but I don't want to put the amount of time in that I am to get nothing out of it. And I want to spend more time with my family because they're always there for me. I need to be there for them. Thank you guys for all the years of watching. I genuinely appreciate all of you. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.